Is this thing on? What the hell? Ah. Well, it's been 40 years since we graduated, and I've been in therapy for a long time now. A lot of you don't know that, but my therapist thought that this would be a good opportunity for me to get a lot of issues out, and Whit's graciously given me a few minutes here at the reunion to do that. So I've got a list here of things I want to talk about. Well, I'll just start with the first page. Whit Grayson. Most of our classmates know you as Mr. Funny Man, always quick with the jokes, but I know that you have a dark side, Whit. Remember back in junior high when you left your track shoes after practice and I put them in my locker for safekeeping? Then the next morning when you had gym class and couldn't find them, Coach Rainey did a locker search and found them in my locker. Next thing I know, I'm in Earl Bridges' office accused of stealing them and got 3 whacks from the Board of Education. Then in drafting class, when you tossed the pencil up into the overhead blind that Mr. Spear always wanted pulled down, and when he pulled down the blind, the pencil fell out and stuck right point first on the top of his head. I laughed out loud, so he thought I had done it, and you guessed it, back to Earl Bridge for 3 more whacks. It wasn't until years later, Whit, that I finally figured out that you actually had a spanking fetish and enjoyed watching others get spanked for things that you did. The result was that I developed a fear of roll-up blinds and 4H lead pencils. You can't imagine how hard it was for me to take all those standardized tests, you know, the ones that you had to shade in those little circles, just so, with a lead pencil, and all the while my glutes are tight as I had flashbacks of Earl Bridge. Thanks a lot, Whit. Thanks. Stan Pottinger. Stan, we had a lot of great times over the years, cruising the circuit in Tipton, listening to rock and roll music cranking at full blast. But that night when we were riding around in your brother's black 69 Ford Torino GT, and you popped the Led Zeppelin II 8-track tape into the player, and I heard a Whole Lot of Love for the first time, it changed my life. In more ways than one, as it turned out. It wasn't until years later that I found out that you had given me a rare medical disorder, Zeppelin Tourette's. In my case, ZT manifests itself in a sudden uncontrollable urge to wail out a Zeppelin line when I see a good-looking woman. Can you imagine the embarrassment of being in line inside a bank with a young lady standing in front of you, and suddenly, way down inside, woman! It's taken me years of therapy and medications to get my ZT under control. Thanks, Stan. Thanks a lot. Jerry Cox. I'm sorry, I need a minute here. Jerry, we had a lot of great times too. When you decided to street race Terwilliger on 4H Road in your Plymouth Valiant, the one with push-button shift control. That night scarred me for life. We were lined up coming off Golf Course Road, and when you revved up the engine and hit the R button, and we went sailing backwards, almost going off the road behind us, the damage was done. Ever since that night, I've suffered from cuponophobia, a fear of push buttons. Do you know what it's like back when we had phone booths and they switched from rotary dial to push buttons? Every time I had to make a call, I broke out in a cold sweat. And dialing long-distance calls with a calling card? Forget it. Ever notice that I never use the preset buttons in my car radio? Thanks, Jerry. Thanks a lot. Becky Reesner and Sharon McQuinn. Remember our freshman year when we were scavenging wood for the big bonfire contest? I'd driven my Uncle Bob's new Moline G1000 with a flatbed wagon to haul classmates to the old barn we were tearing down. It was snowing and bitterly cold, but you girls hadn't dressed for the weather, So you had me stop so you could come up and ride up in the heated cab and warm up. But there wasn't much room in the cab, and you took turns sitting on my lap as we bounced down the country roads. I know it sounds like fun now, a country boy getting his first lap dance, but it turned out later there was a problem. To this day, I can't go to a strip club and enjoy a lap dance unless I drive a tractor to the bar. I know Kenny Boyd and Larry Harper probably have suffered from this same problem. I had a really hard time a while back explaining to the manager at the Hugger why my International 1086 was in the parking lot. And now the dancers think I'm really weird, which in a strip club is not a good thing, trust me. So thanks, girls, thanks a lot. And to the 3 girls in our class who will remain nameless, but you know who you are. Remember that Halloween when you decided to cover my 442 with shaving cream and toilet paper, and then it rained and we found out what that combination did to a paint and vinyl top? Ever wonder why I always shave with an electric razor? Oh sure, I used to enjoy a good shave with hot shaving cream, but not anymore. Thanks a lot. But there were some good memories of school. Nancy Whistler. Nancy always had the best tenderloins around. Guys would come from miles around just to try Nancy's tenderloins. I remember one time, I'm sorry, I see our time is up. Well, thank you all for letting me get these issues off my chest. I hope it helps. Live long and prosper.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly all your life. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive.